How's it going, Rogues Gallery? Today, let's talk about the brand newly announced Gundam trading card game by Bandai, and over the course of this video, answer the question, should I cover this game? Should I even play this game? And for those of you who are new to the channel, I guess you probably need a little bit of context as to who I am to help better ask this question. My name is Kel. I am a full-time trading card game content creator and shoutcaster. I have done casting and coverage for no less than 2 World Championships this year, one for Shadowverse Evolve, the other one for Grand Archive. I've been playing card games my entire life, since 1995. Yes, I am old, and since then I've, competed competitively in Magic the Gathering. I currently play no less than 5 different trading card games with Shadowverse Evolve, Grand Archive, and then games like WeCross and Vanguard being kind of like little extras there for me, as well as Vice Schwartz. And a lot of people know me from Flesh and Blood. I've been on Tolarian Community College, Shuffle Up and Play, and a bunch of stuff. I like card games. I love card games. So that's a little bit of context going into this. I've actually worked with Bandai before. I've done some stuff with Battle Spirit Saga. I don't really play the game anymore, but I'm not unfamiliar with the gaming ecosystem. So without further ado, let's kind of jump into this. We'll talk about like mechanics. We'll talk about everything that you need to know when getting into a new card game, including availability, which is going to be a really big one for me, and one that, well, I have some initial thoughts. We'll see how it goes. So we have our nice little overlay here, and so let's kind of jump into it. So this is on the official website. They released like an hour or 2 hour long stream, kind of like going into all the details. I watched that, so I have a vague understanding of how to play the game. It's very similar to a lot of other Japanese trading card games, especially Bandai trading card games. So here it is. I think the card back actually looks really cool. I think it's really sleek. They will have what they're calling a beta trial version, or beta version trial, that will be at select local game stores and available online. I'm gonna use that very loosely because at this point in time, hell, a couple hours after it was released, it completely sold out. We'll talk about that later. That's definitely gonna form an opinion, like be part of my opinion that we're gonna be formulating here. So here's learn the rules, and then here's the beta. And then they had like this nice little trailer. You can go watch the trailer. It's nice. It's, kind of like, showing people from all walks of life playing card games and being like, oh, who played the card? Oh my God, died, or whatever. I always find these kind of things funny. It's just like, yeah, everyone just casually playing in a hip cafe. Anyway, pretending that it's not a bunch of sweaty nerds playing at your LGS. Hey, you can play in cafes too. I just think it's I think it's funny. All right, so here's the platforms. Here's all this kind of stuff. Here's the stream. This is unimportant things, but things that I just kind of wanted to point out. They kind of like came here with an agenda, and they had like a good presentation. So more important, let's go to the how to play, because I believe the how to play is well, the crux of this, right? I'm not into card games just for collecting. I collect a little bit, but I'm mostly here to play and to, enjoy the games in that regard. So, play guide, how to play. We're going to go through this together, right? So we have victory conditions. Let's see if you can read this all. Yep, I did frame this correctly. The game ends when either player wins by satisfying one of the following victory conditions. You deal battle damage to your opponent when they have no cards in their shield area. Battle damage is dealt by a unit according to its AP. Your opponent has no cards in their deck. So you can deck your opponent, you can mill them out. I'm going to use a lot of Magic the Gathering terms, by the way, because I feel like a lot of folks will understand those terms maybe more than others, even though I typically cover a lot of anime TCGs here. But it also has a shield system. Now, that might be very familiar to a lot of players out there who know Japanese trading card games. Everything from Bandai games to not Bandai games, like WeCross or Dragoborn. There's a lot of games that use kind of like a shield type system, right? Whatever they call it, life cloth, shield, whatever. So those are the victory conditions. You need to destroy your opponent's shield areas, and there's ways to like supplement it, which I think is really cool with these base cards, which is pretty sweet. All right, necessary for play. So you have a 50 card deck. This is a pretty strict 50 card deck. So it's literally just exactly 50 cards. A 10 card resource deck, which is, once again, very similar to some other games. The one that reminds me of most is obviously Force of Will, but obviously other Bandai games as well. Token cards, sure, and then damage counters. I think these damage counters look pretty slick. They look pretty cool. Dice, you just need some dice. Damage is persistent in this game, similar to the way it's persistent in Shadowverse Evolve. All right, so pretty simple kind of setup. But what worthy of note here is that you have your main deck and you also have a resource deck, and that they do not mix together, and I think that's really, really good. It's of my opinion that in modern TCG design, that no well-designed game will have cards that are only resources in your main deck. And that might be a spicy opinion, I don't know, but I think we've evolved beyond the point of having resource cards in the main deck. Most games these days have found ways around it, with cards either doubling as resource cards, you can have cards that have an effect, or use them for a resource. Lots of games have done this ever since the World of Warcraft trading card game, but more modern examples include something like Lorcana, right? And then we have the 10-card resource deck, which, like I said, reminds me of Force of Will, but other games have separate resource decks as well. A lot of Bandai games. Okay, now let's talk about the card types. Well, there's only 4 card types, and I do like this. It keeps it pretty simple, right? So you have your units, you have your mobile suits, and you have your pilots. The pilots give buffs to your mobile suit, which makes sense. And they also give them kind of haste, which is cool. So you can have your mobile suit out, and then you can play like a pilot and give your mobile suit haste. Or the opposite way. You can have your pilot out, play your mobile suit, give your mobile suit haste. Cool. You also have your command cards. These are kind of like spells or effects. Obviously, as a weeb growing up on the Toonami area, I definitely recognize Miss Darling here from Gundam Wing, which is kind of like my first intro to Gundam. I didn't mention this. I do like Gundam, even though like I haven't covered Gundam or talked about it on the channel. There's a lot of stuff that I really enjoy that I don't talk about on Red Zone Rogue, just because there hasn't been that cross-pollination. Though I have played the old, or one of the old Gundam TCGs. I memed about it on my Twitter. Gundam MS War. Anyone who knows MS War, comment. Like, you're like, there's like 2 of us out here, right? And it's us. So, and then you also have your base cards. And I mentioned the base cards kind of act as extra shields, right? They're shields that protect you from taking damage to your shields. Shields for your shields. And that's kind of like the base setup. And I think something like this, making like it pretty simple, and the gameplay is also very, very simple, is a good thing for a game like this. I think having a really approachable base level and then adding complexity through card effects over time, I think is a really good way to approach this kind of stuff. And it also makes it so that casual fans of these franchises, I mixed up fans and franchises. Casual fans of these franchises can easily get into the game and not have to be bogged down by a bunch of like, super complicated TCG minutia, right? So making it simple, I think, is really good and really smart. And I think they've done a good job of that with their other games, like the Digimon TCG, as well as like One Piece. These are games that I have played before, but I don't typically cover them here on the channel. So I do like this. I do like this setup, and I do like how it gives you, also the opportunity to play with characters and mobile suits that you really enjoy. Maybe you can kind of mix and match. Maybe you can be like, I've always wanted, whatever character, I can't even think of characters, Char to pilot the Epion or something like that. So, yeah. I don't know. I think it's cool. All right, so here we have some of the breakdown. Deck contains exactly 50 cards. Up to 2 colors may be included, and up to 4 cards of the same card number may be included, which means basically it's like, you have a 4-card playset, and then you can mix 2 colors, which is a very common thing as well. Like, especially when card games that have unrestricted resource systems, like it looks like this one, you're going to be getting 1 resource per turn, similar to like how Shadowverse Evolve gets 1 resource per turn, but in a little bit of a different way. So this makes a little bit of sense. You can mix and match your favorite colors. So here we have the unit cards. Like I said, these are your mobile suits. They're deployed to the battlefield, the battle arena. You can have up to 6 of them, so there is a play size limit, much like a lot of other Japanese trading card games. Once again, like Shadowverse Evolve, you can only have 5. This one you can have 6. So like board locking your opponent might be a thing, which I think is really, really cool. They cannot attack on the turn they're deployed, but they can attack starting from your next turn, so they all have Summoning Sickness, except for the pilot thing. We'll talk about that in a second. When a unit is paired with a pilot card and the link requirements are fulfilled, that unit becomes a link unit and can attack immediately on the turn they're deployed. So, like I said, they gain haste if you play the right pilot. Cool. Really cool. All right, now we have pilot cards. So, pilot cards are paired with unit cards by placing it underneath the unit. You know, they're piloting it, right? You can only have 1 pilot for each unit. Yep, that makes sense. Except for maybe some Gundam, but whatever. We're not gonna get into that. When a pilot is paired with a unit, it gets the AP and HP listed on the pilot card, so it gets the buffs here. You can kind of see like here it's got the +1 and the +2. Sure. When a pilot is paired with a unit, you already read that. Additionally, the paired unit gets the pilot ability. So yeah, it's just kind of like in terms of magic, they're like equipment, right? You equip your mobile suit with the dude, and you get the buffs and all that kind of stuff. And a pilot can pair with any unit, which is pretty cool. Like I said, so you can mix and match and do your dream scenarios. Next up, we have the command cards. These are kind of like your spells. They're one-time use cards that give an advantage in battle. Some commands can be activated during your opponent's action step, so kind of like Shadowverse Evolve with like instant and fast speed style effects, quick speed, whatever nomenclature the game that you play uses. It's like instant speed type stuff. While others can be treated as a pilot, which makes them more like enchantments or artifacts or something like that. Permanents that stick around, but they're not pilots. Sure. And then you have the base cards. These are the ones that you can use as extra shields, right? And so base cards are deployed in your shield area, and you use bases to protect your shields and use their abilities to support your strategy. No more than 1 base is allowed, which I like that. You can't like pile up bases. You just have 1 base, and then you have your shield, so your opponent has to get through your 1 base, and then they can kind of push some damage. And then here you can kind of see some of this, like the resource area, the play area, all that kind of stuff. This one, the 7 says trash. So you like here, let's kind of break this down. I don't have it quite big enough. You know, maybe I can shrink this a little bit. Let's see. A little. Nope, that's not the right button. There we go. There we go. Okay. So now you have a bit better idea of what's going on here. So you have your base area and you have your shields, right? So you have your shields. They protect you from dying. When you run out of shields, you die. You have your base that protects you, or protects your shields. Then you have your battle area. This is where you play all your Gundams and your pilots and all that kind of good stuff. You have your resource deck area. Then you have your resource area, and you just get 1 per turn. Then you have your deck, and then you have your trash. It's really, really simple. Like any person who's played trading card games immediately understands what's going on here. And like I said, I don't think that's a bad thing. And it does say kind of like, you know, how to get this, like playing cards. You use the resources. We're going to kind of skip ahead through a lot of this kind of stuff. You can go check this out a little bit, but there's a couple interesting things to note here. So, like I said, we're not going to read all of this stuff, but for shields, you get 6 shields. So you basically have like a 6-hit life total kind of deal. You take the top 6 cards of your deck and place them down at the start of the game. A lot of people will be familiar with this, like We Cross and that kind of stuff. The resource area says you can play a card if the number of resources you have is equal to or greater than the card's level. To play a card's cost, turn it horizontally, you tap it. A number of resources equal to the cost. The second turn player places 1 EX resource at the start of the game. No more than 5 EX resource token cards are allowed. So that's kind of like this second turn player mechanic, you know, catch-up mechanic, right? Battle Arena, units are deployed here, no more than 6 units allowed. A pilot can be paired with 1 unit. Specifically, units, like I said, are the mobile suits, right? So you can have mobile suits and pilots. So you can have like 6 mobile suits and then more pilots, right? They don't count as each other. And then, yeah, that's kind of like basically that, other than the fact that you can only have 1 base, so only 1 little protector for your shields. All right, so playing a card, it's like mana. You tap it. You know, you have your resource card. You tap it. It doesn't look like the resource cards have like much variation. You know, it's very like One Piece like, or like. I mean, yeah, it's just like there's like no variation really. They're just resources. It says, once again, you can play a card if the number of resources you have is equal to or greater than the card's level. To play a cost, press the number of resources equal to the cost, right? So basically the number of resources you have caps the power level of the things you can play, but you still have to like tap the resources, right? So this is a level 4 unit, but it has a cost of 2. So to play this, you have to have 4 or more resources, and then you use 2 of those resources to play it. Really simple, right? This is just Gundam. If you have 4 more resources, you can play this, tap the resources. Yep. Turn progression. Once again, a lot of people will be very, very familiar with this. This game looks really, really, really easy to get into. So start phase, you set all rested horizontal cards as vertical. This is your untap step. You have your draw step, draw 1 card. I wish you would draw 2. There's probably balancing reasons for that, but I love games that let you draw 2 cards or more cards per turn. One of the reasons I really, really started to enjoy Vanguard is that you draw so many cards in that game. Recross, you draw 2 cards per turn. Any game where you draw more than 1 card per turn, I really enjoy. So we'll have to see about this, but you get the resources are separate and you get them anyway, so it might not be that big of a difference. Kind of like how Shadowverse, same kind of deal. Shadowverse Evolve, you get your resources no matter what, so it makes the stress of playing resources from your hand, you know, less, right? Everything you draw is gas, more or less. You don't just draw like a dead resource card. And then resource phase, you put a card from your resource deck in your resource area. So, yep, you get your 1 resource a turn. Your main phase, you can just play stuff, you can activate abilities, or you can attack, and then you have your end phase. So once again, very, very similar to a lot of games. It doesn't look like there's a specific attack phase here, so you can likely attack and then play something and then attack. You can probably do sequences where you like, you know, have a pilot, you play your unit card, your mobile suit, and then you pilot it and you attack, and then maybe you play something else afterwards. And then they have a full like starter guide as well. What does the starter guide even say? I haven't checked out the starter guide yet. I think it's probably just kind of like basically what we kind of ran down here, and it looks great, right? I think this game actually looks really, really cool. Let's check out this. So this is one of the interesting things about the game that I was really excited for like 5 minutes until I found that it literally sold out like an hour after it went up, and it is definitely going to affect my opinions of this. So we have the edition beta. Here's some of the featured cards, and like I said, I think these look fantastic, right? I think these have unique art, like art made for this game, which I think is incredible, right? They also have some art that, you know, very harkens back to classic anime scenes and styles and all this kind of stuff. Here's your boy Hiro Yui, one of the I always found him to be frustrating as a protagonist. And then we have where's the ladies? You just have they're just really good friends, okay? They're just roommates. They're just really good friends. But overall, I think the art looks great. And I think that's one of the things that, well, I don't think, this is literally one of the things that I look at when I want to check out any new trading card game. And it's basically, there's two things. The first thing is, do the cards look good? If the cards don't look good, I'm out immediately. Like, if the game is ugly, I'm just done. Like, I'm not gonna have any motivation to spend all of the money it's gonna be to buy all of these and to collect them and all that kind of stuff. The game needs to look fantastic, and I think this looks pretty good. If these are the base rarity cards, and I think they are, it looks great. And I would assume they have, you know, super high rarity, fancy versions as well. But overall, pretty good. And these are like base level cards. It looks like they have very minimal effects, right? And then 2 is the game fun. And obviously I haven't played it yet, but the game looks very simple, and I think it could be very fun. I think simple systems can lead to very fun games, especially as cards themselves get more complicated. So I'm actually pretty positive on this overall, just in general. And then the beta edition, I'm not even sure why I'm going to go over this, because spoilers, it's, like I said, it's sold out. You can't get this unless you have a LGS near you that's going to have one of these events, unless you are physically going to one of these big events to pick one up. Most people are not going to be able to get one of these, which is, like I said, definitely going to affect my evaluation of this. But it seems cool, right? It's a little like pre-constructed product that comes with some booster packs, a set of cards, like a seeded set of cards, and then some like dice and all that kind of stuff. which is great. And it comes with, apparently it comes with like some alt art stuff too. And then it says 3 ways to obtain your own beta. So you can get that at Bandai Card Games Fest. So if you're lucky enough to be able to go to one of these in, on these, what month is this? I don't remember what month this is. Later, much later. I want to say February, but it is much later. And yeah, you'll have to go to one of these and then purchase one. Or you can get that at a participating Bandai TCG Plus store. I live in the Portland, Oregon area, and I could not tell you what stores. I literally know many people who own stores here in Portland, and I could not tell you what stores this would apply to. So, bro, I have no idea. Like, if you have like if you know for certain that your LGS is like a Bandai TCG Plus store, you might have a shot at getting one of these, assuming they don't also immediately sell out and or are scalped. So hopefully you have a good LGS that is going to be selling these at good prices. Or you can get them on Premium Bandai USA. No, you can't. No, you can't. Unless we're going to click this now. If it's available now, I'm literally going to order one right now. But let us see. It is. Hold on. Well, so first of all, they're $70, right? And $70 for kind of like a deck builder's toolkit for a beta edition. I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's that bad. Especially considering you get a lot of stuff here. I think it's a decent deal. So here's the, here, we gotta click this link. This is the link that takes us to, oh, sorry, out of stock. Yeah, it's been out of stock ever since. I heard some people say that they were doing like restocks. I checked it every single day, or like every couple hours in the last couple days. I have not seen it come back in stock at all. I think it's just SOL, you know? And this brings up the issues that I might have with this game. Base level, I think the game looks fun. I think the art looks good. And it looks like something I would like to try. However, am I even going to be able to try this? Are you going to be even able to try this at a reasonable price in a reasonable amount of time? I don't know. If you remember how the Digimon TCG launched, it was heavily scalped. The starter decks were very expensive, and it was really, really hard to get for a while, right? And that's something that people have tell me, hey, that's pretty common for Bandai TCGs. So is it going to be common for this game? I'm gonna be really clear. I'm not fighting scalpers for this game, right? I would like to play it, and I would like to cover it here on the channel, but I'm not fighting scalpers, and I'm not paying scalped prices. So that might already answer the question of, should I cover this game? If I can get it, is kind of my answer here. And that's not even to say the history with Bandai and the games that they have, right? And then the history of Gundam TCGs. There's a reason there's no Gundam TCG right now. They've all, you know, petered out within a span of like a couple years at most, right? So there's that. There's the fact that this is one of many Bandai TCGs. Like, how many do they have now? Like 6, 7? Like, they have a ton. They have an absolute ton of TCGs. And, you know, is this going to be the kind of thing where you play and support it for like a year, 2 years, and it just gets dropped? When the TCG bubble bursts, there's so many games on the market. Some of them are very, very good, by the way. And like I said, I literally play 5 games like actively, and then I also tangentially play even more, right? I have a Pokemon deck. I have many Magic decks. But like when the TCG bubble bursts, is this going to be one of the games that survives? Maybe. It could be. Gundam has a really, really passionate fan base, and if the game is good and is handled well, product is available, prices are good, then this could be one of the ones that is able to weather that kind of storm just based on the IP power alone. But it is still something that you need to think about when getting into a brand new game that you're going to be spending a lot of money on. Like I said, this beta edition is $70. That's not nothing, right? That's a decent little chunk of change. And this is the thing that kicks me the most. This sold out so fast, and apparently they had like a 1 per person limit, and it still sold out before I could even, like, I checked in like the second or third hour or something that this was available, and it was just gone. And that worries me, right? Not just because I can't get this, but that worries me that they are grossly underestimating the demand for this game. And if it's one of those games that's going to be scalped to high heavens and really difficult to get for the first 4 months, and then it's going to really stymie the growth of the game and my interest in it as well. So that's where I'm coming from this. I really hope they see this and they're like, oh, it's going to be big, or at least, you know, measure the demand based on this and adjust accordingly. Because like I said, I'm not fighting scalpers for any TCG in 2024. I'm just done with that. Like, I'm not, that's not where I'm at anymore. Especially with so many amazing games on the market where you don't have to fight the scalpers and you have options. You have a lot of good options in 2024. And this game needs to be available to, you know, facilitate that. I don't know. So anyway, it does look kind of cool. You get these cool dice, you know, maybe, I don't know, foil card or something. You get some like get some altered Gundams, and then, you know, it looks pretty cool, right? And even if I'm not able to get, she's very cute, even if I'm not able to get this beta edition, if like the starter decks and like the first booster box product are available and not scalped, I might check it out. But I really want to hear from you folks out there. This is kind of like the crux of the video. At this point now, should I play this game? Should you play this game? And should I cover this on Red Zone Rogue? Would you like to see more videos about this game? Because at the end of the day, like I said, I am interested enough in it to possibly try it out and to cover it here on the channel and do the whole suite of things. Deck techs, gameplay, openings, all that kind of stuff, right? It's been a long time since I've really been into like a mecha thing. And this could be a good option. I loved Gundam as a kid. I don't have any Gunpla, but my brother does. I just have the figures. But actually, some of the figures back here are Gundam figures. They're not Gunpla, but they're like, you know, characters from Gundam. So, in fact, one of the first figures I ever bought was a character from Gundam. But I digress. So, we're going to end the video in just a moment. But yeah, I would like to know everyone's thoughts, right? What do you think of this game? Should I cover it on Red Zone Rogue? Should I even play it? Should you even play it? What do you think about the potential availability like this? Does this concern you the way it concerns me? Because I see this and I saw what happened with a lot of other Bandai games, and I get real. I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like 2024, that's not where I'm at. I'm not doing that again. So, yeah. We'll see. And I just hope something like this is available for everyone at you know, reasonable price, MSRP prices. It's still wild to me that this sold out so quickly. It's a pre-order product. You for like a brand new flagship TCG, you'd think they'd have like a big stock, but nope, nah, it doesn't look like it. So, yep, we're gonna end the video here. That's basically my thoughts. To quickly summarize, I think the game looks fun. I think the game looks pretty easy to get into. I think I really like the original art in it. I think it looks great. But we do have the concerns of availability, potential scalping, and, well, TCG bloat in general, right? These are all concerns with varying degrees of severity, right? Some of these things might be more important than others, but I think they all should factor into whether or not you should pick up a new game in 2024. So, yeah, let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. I very much appreciate it. And we'll see you next time for some more card game content. See you later, everyone.